I have to completely disagree with Sean, 100%. And because I disagree, I think Sean.
And I disagree with you as well.
But you know what? I'm going to explain to you why you're wrong. And basically,
Yes. Another week. Wait, hold on a minute. It's been a few weeks now. Don't worry about it. It's another week. It's another Chatterbox. Don't know. It's your boy Dan. What's good, people? Obviously, we got a full house here. We got the OG, the one and only. Come on, it's the hype man. It's the wildest. It's North London's wildest. Yes, it's Des. Come on, brother. What's good, fam?
Yeah.
Yes,
Boom. Boom. The man's back. Yes, I am.
Come on.
There, man. Come on, man. Nothing I am. Boom, boom.
And just as we build up the fire, the man to dampen it with a turtleneck, it's your boy with the opinion. It's P. What's good, bro?
yeah, man, I'm here. People say I dyed my hair, but I'm Benjamin Button. I'm just getting younger every day.
No one said anything about your hair, but now you said it. Like, you're looking that. Where's it going? Where's the hairline? Wow, man, that's running away from that smile too, bro. Now you're looking sharp, bro. You're looking sharp, man. Props to your missus for staying with you. Anyway, talking of ladies, oh my days, this guy knows how to keep it smooth, but he's not as smooth as the ladies love. It's South London's finest. Yes, he keeps it real on the airwaves and on the streets. It's the one and only Sean, the brother. Yes, brother. What's good, man?
Yo. Good to have you back, bro. Good to have you
What's
back.
good, man? What's good? Oh my days. Now, listen, come on, let's get into this one. A few months ago, we started the beginning of this Indian classic. And today, we're reviewing The Conclusion. Now, before I tell you the name of this movie, let's just say I now understand why this is a classic. Let's put aside the law of physics. The bitch slap that had me cheering.
That's deep.
The slave that defied the restriction of age. Or the complexity of Sivagami behavior and death. The movie is clearly a benchmark in Indian cinema from which films have learned from and been inspired by when you realize this is less than a fraction of what was spent on Wonder Woman. It makes you want to say, Hollywood's playing you, fam. Hollywood is playing you. I told you lot from early, Hollywood is playing you. Now, this film was produced by Arca Media, a Telugu cinema production which cemented the cult status of Prabhas and S.S. Rajamouli. That name just Ooh, oh my days. Now, this film is none other than Bahubali 2, The Conclusion. And today we are doing a review of this movie. Gentlemen, jumping straight in, where do you stand on the line of Bahubali 2? Did it measure up to the first, superseded it, or left you wanting more?
You know what? I'm going to jump straight in and before Des jumps in before me. Bahubali 1 had an epic battle scene that set a standard, but for Bahubali 2 had 4 aspects that stood out for me. It was funnier, the visual effects were better, the females were more developed, and basically Katapa. And that allowed Bahubali 2 to supersede its predecessor.
Wow. Okay. Why do you need to jump in before me? It's not as though I'm going to cap what you're saying, bro. I've got my own mind. I know you're the man with the opinion, but hey, I still got my own mind. At the start, I was a little confused and I became a little bit restless. But I thought, you know what? Just settle yourself, man. I settled into it and I enjoyed it. Did it measure up to the first or superseded it? I'm on the fence there. But it continued the story I wanted to be a part of. But definitely.
I disagree with Pete. I don't think it superseded the first film, in my opinion. But I do think the story was great. I loved it.
So you're starting off wrong. Wait, he's starting off wrong. But hey, let's continue.
What do you mean?
Huh?
Oh, all right, let me start again then. All
Oh,
right.
this is the brother with his opinion, bro.
Yeah,
Don't
all
get
right.
twisted. My man is trying to play you, man. It's like Hollywood's playing you.
Let's lay our thoughts clear. I definitely want to hear what you got to say, Sean. There is so much to talk about in such a long film. So I'm going to say an area, and I want you to give your opinion on that area. First of all, cinematography and editing.
All right. For me, the cinematography, I thought it was epic. How you know when a cinematographer has done his job is when you don't need to follow the dialogue in every scene. Now, I watched it via subtitles, and the cinematographer did enough. There was many scenes that I was just able to just watch that scene, and it told me the story without having to read everything that was going on. The editing pace was excellent. I'd say 98% of the film. However, to me, the ending felt a little bit rushed. The antagonist was defeated, and everything just seemed to finish so quickly after that. But I thought cinematography, editing, well done.
All right, how about this one? I know you guys get confused. Was there any sex? No, I'm playing. What were the sets like? You guys always play me on that one. What were the sets like? What did you think? Were the sets doing it?
Yeah, for me, I thought the sets were good, especially the sets of the palace. One for me that stood out, Baladiva, when he was having his carnation. I thought all the people in the city, the palace with the guards, I thought the whole thing was excellent. So definitely a thumbs up on the sets for me.
Always a thumbs up on the sex for Sean, innit, man? I mean, sets. Anyway, P, I know you're into this one, the video effects. Did they come true? Did they deliver? Or did it feel like you were kind of watching the Teletubbies?
After I watched the movie, my original thought was they could have done better in some of the fight sequences where you kind of go, that look a little bit amateurish. Because considering that, take for example, Lord of the Rings, that came out in 2003. This movie came out in 2017. And you look at the visual effects that Lord of the Rings were doing in 2001, 2002, and 2003 compared to Bahubali. But after I watched the movie, I watched several short clips about the making of Bahubali, and I watched how they put visual effects in certain scenes. And I was surprised there was a lot more visual effects in it than I even realized. And then it made me appreciate Bahubali 2 a lot more. So there was lots of elements that it really worked. And when it worked really well. But where it didn't work so well, it was quite obvious. So I would say it's a toss-up. Could it have been better? Yes. But they did some bits really, really fantastic, especially the sceneries.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think the visual effects were good in certain aspects. Like the scene where Armendra destroyed Baladiva's chariot. I thought that was pretty good visual effects. But then there were like times where I felt like they could have probably put a little bit more effort in just to pull it off. You know, some of the scenes with like the stunts, which I won't get too much into, but I felt like it was a little bit off.
You know what kind of stood out for me? It was when Bahubali did the scene that reminded me of Lion King, when he was jumping on the cattle as they ran through the valley. And I thought, wow, Lion King that. And I thought, yeah, that's funny. And I thought they took quite a bit from different superhero movies as well. He fought the battle and he's ready to take Devashina back. And he done this amazing thing, you know, showed his love. And then he just kind of emerged. He was just a regular guy and he just emerged by being set alight in a way. And his suit just burnt off. And I thought, you know what, that reminded me of a bit like Superman, Clark Kent, just pulling off his suit and showing superhero status there. And I really like that. I really like that.
All right, cool. Let's hope this one definitely stood out because I think it did. How were the performances for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to performances, that was one of the best parts of the film. There was only one winner for me, Gami. I thought she was excellent from the beginning until it came to her demise. You know, she was so convincing as a mother, as a queen, as a friend. It was impressive, the way she made you believe in everything she was doing on screen. I think she's a great actress. wicked.
I love the storyline, but I disliked elements of it at the same time. The romantic element I thought was fantastic. Amarendra was developed beautifully. You saw how he was blessed. You understood his temperament. You could follow his journey with Devasena. Katappa journey came full story, so you understand why he was there. You didn't agree with all of his decisions, but you understood that he was flawed. And I was slightly confused how old he was by the end of the film. I didn't know, was he 85, 95, but he moved around quite well. Mahendra's storyline is what confused me. I understand being blessed and having strengths, but without his tactical training and having strategy, I understand the impassionate speech he made to other people. Basically, I didn't understand how they developed him. Where you could understand where Amarendra developed, Mahendra, things just seemed to fall into place for him, and it made no logical sense. It kind of got quite confusing, and sometimes I didn't really understand how he was able to take over the kingdom towards the end. I thought they could have developed his character a lot more.
Talking of development, one of the things that I was excited to see whether they've developed, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts, is the fact that in the first film they explored female representation, and in this movie, how do you think that's developed? What are your thoughts on it?
I guess with this question, I can pick back up from where my last answer on the performances left off. I mean, there was no question in the film about female representation for me personally. Yes, women were still in a position where they had to marry based on societal demands, for example. But for me, it was very, very clear that, Sivagami was in charge. There was no question about that. And for me, it was true respect, not only from her subjects, but also from all the people around her, all the leaders, everyone. You could just see they believed in this woman. So for me, I don't think there was like a big issue with female representation in this one, personally.
I have to completely disagree with Sean, 100%. And because I disagree, I think Sean...
And I disagree with you as well.
But you know what? I'm going to explain to you why you're wrong. And basically, Shivagami's character development confused me in this movie. In the first one, she was a smart and talented, and she was instinctive woman. In this one, remember, this woman has ruled the kingdom for 20 plus years, and she had the brains to judge Bahubali was not power hungry and was just and fit enough to be king. But then all of a sudden, in part two, some crappy plan put together by Vijaladeva and Baladeva was able to trick her so easily. But not only that, she was able to kind of sanction the death of Bahubali. Where you're like, where did that come from? A woman who had that much love in the first movie, all of a sudden she became clueless and turned into a buffoon. And I was like, that wasn't a clear development of this lady that we had come to know and love. And I know at the end she tried to rectify it, but that was a little bit too little, too late. And I was just like, that doesn't make any sense.
Hold on, though.
But could it have been? Could it have been because Devashina was also now on the scene and the little whispering, including her, and she was challenging Queen Mother. She was challenging her on a regular, and everybody was like, whoa, how dare you? And this woman had to kind of like really up the ante.
Exactly.
And she became cold.
Are you telling me in the 20 years that she ruled the kingdom, she wouldn't have come across any of those challenges?
Yeah,
she was able to have to deal with them.
Exactly.
No. Excuse me.
You asking me, bro. I'm
one,
telling you in a nutshell, yes, simple.
Guys. Quiet down, children. Why you guys were wrong?
Oh, come on. Don't make me have to pull rank on you like the Queen Mother here now, you know. You know what I mean? Shackle you up, boy, and fly you down. Because you're too opinionated. Evashina was a very opinionated. She challenged the authority of Shivagami. And she wanted us in her place as well. So no one else ever dared do that.
Exactly.
So, therefore, this is new to me. This is new to her.
Exactly. That's
There you
I fully agree with Des. That's what I was basically trying to say. Like you could clearly see that the woman was put in a position where she was leading a whole like nation basically, and she had to make key decisions. She couldn't mess about with the decisions that she was making.
So you're basically saying this woman is weak then, because you're saying
no, she's not weak. She's strong.
She's not weak at all. We're not saying that.
Exactly.
You're not saying that.
Yes, you are.
No, she's not weak at all. She is strong emotionally.
Exactly.
I think she was a little bit on the edge there, but one of the things, she had to stick to tradition.
Exactly.
And Devil Sheena just came up and like ripped that apart. I was like, whoa! It's almost like she didn't know what to do.
So you're
and if she could have said off with her head, she would have went off with her head.
So you're saying the first woman that challenged her, she's all of a sudden, this strong woman then became kind of compulsive or impulsive and didn't know how to handle the situation.
All right. Shock for her. And so she kind of went into this sudden, a different personality. And then later on, then she kind of came out of it. I mean, she shut down.
What you're trying to say is that she fit in the stereotype of a woman, and as soon as another woman challenged her, she kind of...
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that.
That's what basically you're saying, just in a long way of saying it.
Did you hear that words come out my mouth?
No,
did
but
you hear that words come out my mouth?
Summarizing basically what you're saying.
Not at all. I'm not saying that.
Did she behave like she normally behaved? Did she behave like she normally behaved?
But she
hasn't been challenged before by a woman. So how do we know how she would normally behave?
But I'm glad that you've understood where I'm coming from. And
no,
I'm right.
We haven't.
I definitely think everyone agrees not to agree on this point. So on that beautiful moment where you guys just happen to agree on not agreeing, I'm going to move on and let's explore the rest of the movie, because there were several moments in Bahubali 2 which can't be forgotten. The vows, the courtship, the romance, So let's just go through a few of these, and you guys, the scenes that you want to pick up on, you can tell us more about it. So first of all, there was the way Bahubali and Katapar save Kuntala Rajam. And then there was where Devasena commander court scene. There was the Katapar killing Bahubali. Also, there was the swearing in ceremony of Amarendra Bahubali. And there was the face-off between Mahendra Bahubali and Balala Deva. But for you guys, which scene stood out for you and why?
For me, the scene that stood out was the way Bahubali and Katapa say Kuntala Rajam. I thought that was a fantastic scene. After the film, I watched it 3 times over because I thought it was quite iconic in the whole grand scheme of the film. It was 10 minutes in length, and I actually loved the scene where, I think Des touched on it a little bit earlier, where he talked about the Lion King moment where Bahubali was kind of amongst the bulls, riding with them. I actually love where the bulls' horns were on fire. I thought that was a great scene, and it showed some great imagination by Rajamouli. I love the breaking of the dam. I just thought that was fantastic. And just basically Bahubali's fighting within that. And the last scene where he kind of floated up after he had saved the place on a log. And all of them, the adulation that they were giving him just before his revelation where he was the true and rightful king. I just thought that scene was fantastic.
For me, it was Katapa killing Bahubali. I thought that was an emotional scene. Because although I knew it was coming after watching the first film, I wasn't quite sure what the actual plot was going to be like after watching the first film. And when I saw that it was because he was double-crossed into doing what he did, I couldn't help but feel like sorry for the guy. For him in that moment where he's done what he did by killing him, and then it was revealed that, he was kind of stitched up in a way. So for me, that was definitely one of the key moments for me.
There's so many key moments, man. I mean, you named a list there, but there's so many others as well. And I'm just thinking, it's the court scene. And I know we touched upon this a little bit, but we got Devashina. She's accused of cutting off the commander's fingers, arrested, bound in chains, and had to go between Queen Mother. There you go. She gets asked anything you wish to speak, anything you wish to say. We already know how she is. We already know that her tongue is on fire and she will whip anybody with her tongue. But she was kind of humble and she started saying what she needed to say. But then again, you do not challenge the Queen Mother. You do not challenge her. And she started to diss the kingdom. She started to diss Queen Mother. You know, she wasn't holding back. And then what happens? My guy walks in, Bahubali. You know what I mean? So he just walks in. And I really thought that when he walked in, it was going to be havoc straight away. It was going to be instant. But he just walked in there, saw what was going on, assessed the situation, saw her in Devashina in chains, and thinking, and he reached to his sword. And I thought, this is it now, boy. But he was hesitant. But you could tell my man is just boiling up. He's just walking. And he said to her, what happened? And she started to say about the commander. And the classic, oh my gosh. You don't chop off a man's fingers, you chop off his head. Boom! And I tell you, it must have took about 5 minutes for that man's head to fall off. I was waiting. You saw the aerial shot, man, and I was thinking, hang on, where's his head? It's still in his body. And then he just suddenly just dropped, boy. I thought, wow. And the fact is, he stood by her. He made a pact to her. And I loved it. This guy, when he says things to Devashina, man, I got chills. I got seriously chills. Because there was one time, man, I thought the window was open. I was getting a bit cold. And I was thinking, nah, this has happened again. And the windows were closed. I got chills, man. I think his performance alongside Devashina, I thought the chemistry was mad crazy. I thought it was beautiful. You know, for a moment, I forgot about Avantika. Just for a moment.
Anyway, let me throw you guys a curveball. Was there anything that you found both amazing and totally ridiculous in Bahubali 2?
To me, what stood out, and I thought this was totally ridiculous, it was the coconut trees when they used that to propel soldiers flying over the wall. Now, somehow when I was watching this, I was like, come on. I had to forget about physics. I had to forget about gravity. I had to forget that what the hell was going on. And all of these people, I understand Bahubali was able to go over the wall and land perfectly, but how were all the other soldiers able to do that? It just had my mind blown. And then I also noticed after that, I was like, all of these people are fighting hard, but no one seemed to sweat. Everyone just seemed to be just, and I'm like, I'll run down to the block and I'm tired and I'm sweating. And these people are fighting hardcore. You see a little bit of blood, but no sweat. And the final thing that I thought was kind of a little bit bizarre, basically how Sivagami, how she died. That didn't make sense to me because how she died at the end of it didn't match up with Bahubali 1, where you saw her coming out of the cave with the guys following her. I was like, how does this link with that? That didn't make any sense. And I was a little bit confused. And I was like, I was slightly vexed here because I was like, as much as I love the story, what they told really well was fantastic. But when they left gaps, it made you go, what the huh?
The amazing part of the film for me, as I said earlier, was the Sivagami. I screw what P says. I don't care what he says. You can chat all day. But yeah, apart from that, the story, I thought the story was excellent. But yeah, one thing I do agree with Pion, because this was my thing that I thought of that was ridiculous in the film, was the continuity error with Sivagami's death being played out at the palace. When in the first film she was at the bottom of the waterfall,
which is far away. Yeah.
Say again?
I said that location was much further away from where the palace was.
Exactly.
Like, that was miles away. So how did she? What? And then it didn't made sense with Devastina, because if Devastina thought she died, why did she wait 25 years for whatever? But
that didn't make sense, but yeah.
But more importantly, right now, how many stars is Bahubali 2 getting from you?
I'll just round it up and say 4.
Yeah, so the visual effects, not quite up to scratch, but some really great performances and a really good story of love and betrayal. So I give this film 4 stars.
Yeah, I have to echo that as well. I'll definitely on a 4 with that one. I'm definitely on a 4, man.
It's a 4-star journey, better than a P&O cruise or an EasyJet flight. You know what it is Bahubali 2. Big up the OG, North London's finest, South London's wildest is Sean. And you know what it is? It's the man to put the damp on every situation and disagree with every woman and man in this world. It's P. Get your turtlenecks in the post this week, people. I'm Dan. It's great to be back and doing a little thing with you, man. I hope all of you guys hit that subscribe button, follow on the socials, don't forget the little alert, and hit us up in the comments. We love to chat. Peace and love, people.